Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of the problems that we can run into when programming and figuring things out, and why certain work to a lot of people they'll look at and go, well, that looks way too easy. How are these advanced lifters making gains off of these percentages and reps and sets? And here's what it comes down to. And I'll explain why in a minute, but absolute strength does not scale with our work capacity across multiple sets. Okay? And this is something that as you guys get stronger, you will learn. If some of you out there go from a 200 squat to a 500 squat, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about, as you go across those years and look at your work capacity. And this is one of the reasons why so many top coaches push GPP conditioning. This is why I do so many sled drags. This is why I do so much weighted vest walking. Because as our absolute strength goes up, we lose the ability to do the same percentages of work across multiple sets. And I don't want to say our 10 rep max strength versus 1 rep max or something goes down, because that doesn't. There seems to be, some genetic components involved with that, muscle fiber distribution. But generally speaking, if at the end of your first year of training, you can do 10 to 11 reps of your with 70% of your 1 rep max, even if your strength doubles, it's probably going to stay pretty close to that if we're talking about max reps. But max reps are not work capacity, are they? Right? A single set is just one set. It doesn't take much work capacity to do, to test your 1 rep max or go to all out failure or whatever on a single set. But when we start scaling across multiple sets, let's say 5 sets of 5 sets of 10, whatever, you're going to find that, let's say 5 by 5, when you can throw at a novice, we can give a more novice lifter on a big movement, a squat or a deadlift, right? We can give them 5 sets of 5 at 80% of their max. And they can handle it, like 80% of what their actual max is. They can handle that. You give a guy with a 550 squat, 600 deadlift, you prescribe them 5 by 5 at 80%, they're going to run out of steam. They're going to run out of steam. They may not be able to finish it. And they probably won't. Even worse, we get into sets of 10. Oh yeah. So that's something to think about with these big lifts also. You could give a novice lifter, if they did it fresh, for just sets across. And again, I don't program sets across. I program heavy work and then sets across volume. All my programming is concurrent for my lifters. But the idea of, we're talking about, if you're fresh, you can take a novice lifter, and if you know their max, somebody's in their first year of real training, you can probably give them 70% and do 5 sets of 10. Okay, they can do 5 sets of 10 with that. As you get more advanced, you're going to lose your ability to do that. You're not going to be able to do it 70%, but what people need to keep in mind, your work capacity is still going to be higher. And in other words, the amount of tonnage that a guy who squats 500 pounds can move for 5 sets of 10 is going to way exceed what a guy who squats 250 does. Right? He's going to have squat dramatically more tonnage. It's just not going to be able to do the same amount of volume at the percentage of his max. Okay, so why is that? Well, it's because most of our strength, again, barring the neural drive stuff, the biggest chunk of our strength comes from our hypertrophy, our muscle mass relative to our levers, insertions, limb links, things like that, right? Now, obviously, people say, well, then how come some of these powerlifters lift this much at this weight and bodybuilders can't? Well, no, again, we're talking about individual levers, and we're talking about refining movements. Right? They may just have their technique dialed into where they make the most efficient use of those levers on top of it. And then you have the neural drive and all that. A lot of that stuff comprises about 10% of your total strength potential. Hypertrophy is by far the biggest chunk. Well, as muscle fibers get bigger, they get bigger and the force production goes up, but a lot of the machinery inside that handles the metabolic side of the stress doesn't scale the same. It doesn't scale the same. So this creates a problem for us because, again, our force production goes higher and higher and higher. And yes, we do gain more of the machinery for work capacity with that. In other words, you keep training and your maxes go up and up and up. I mean, your work capacity is going to go up, but it's not going to go up at the same rate that your ability to produce force will. It will be at a lower rate. And eventually it starts to become noticeable in your actual training. All right. This also creates a problem for, potential hypertrophy because we know metabolic fatigue, we know workload and stuff are factors in hypertrophy. So here's the other thing. Our ability to get work done, right, at least in a reasonable time frame without taking 10-minute breaks between every set, our capacity to get work done in a relatively short session requires us to be in better shape then. And this is, again, why GPP. And people ask me that, why you always talk about GPP instead of just regular cardio? Why is it always just resistance-based cardio? In my case, I personally like to do sled drags. I have clients who flip tires, drag tires, do yoke walks, more weighted carries. I like all those things, but I love the sled. I use a sled. I do a lot of weight vest walking. And again, that's to bring work capacity up through strength-oriented mechanisms. Okay, and it helps with that. All right, here's the other thing we come to, recovery. If you're not in shape, you can't handle the same volumes and recover because you don't have the ability to clear waste products and stuff as quickly. All right, people who are in better shape recover from volumes better. And we kind of come back to that same problem. As we get stronger, the tonnages are going to go up. They're going to go up. Fortunately for us, if we can continue to get in better shape, we can handle the more and more and more tonnages. But if not, we end up having to do less, total sets, less total reps, sets, everything else in a workout and be able to recover from it. So again, building our work capacity is important for recovery on top of it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.